Here we go. Write 4th root of 17 to the 9th in rational exponent form. What's my base? 17. The exponent goes on top. The index goes on the bottom. So that's 17 to the 9/4. Most people got that one right. Yeah? Easy point. Only 1 point because it's not that difficult. Write 14 to the 2/5 in radical form. So here's my 14. What's the index of my radical? 5. And then you can put the squared here. You can put it here. You can do the 5th root of 14 squared. That's correct also. A couple different ways you can write that one. Okay? Write x to the negative 5/12 in simplified radical form. So, I know that 12 is going to be my index, correct? But what's the trick on this one that we're trying to make sure you know? The negative means I have 1 over the 12th root of x to the 5th. That's what I'm looking for there. Any questions about those three? Okay. Number 4 is the first place where a lot of people got it wrong. Okay. Now, notice it says expression and then it has that thing. What does that mean? There could be more than one. There might not be, but there could be more than one. So I have to check all 4 of those, don't I? Now, something I notice about this is that exponent is only applying to what? The n. The 729 is not in any parentheses, so it is by itself. It should not have anything to do with a cube root or a squared or anything. So if I see 729 and it is dealing with any of that, then that's a problem. This one, I don't even see the 729, but I do see 9 squared. That's not on the, that's on the bottom of the fraction though, isn't it? And this is going to stay on the top of the fraction. Yeah? Okay. I also see that because this is negative, there has to be a fraction, which eliminates that possibility. So now I got to see if one of these or both of these is equivalent to that. So 729 n to the negative 2/3. Well, the 729 needs to stay on top, right? And then n to the 2/3. That would be the cube root of n squared, which matches b exactly. Now, what's going on with c? What does that do? It becomes 27 squared, right? Over the cube root of n squared, right? Because that exponent outside means it applies to both. Is that the same as that?
Yes.
So now I just need to see, is 27 squared the same as 729? 27 squared is 729. So guess what? C also is equivalent. So? Okay. Now, when we go to the computer tomorrow, I may not have this line as a place where you actually have to enter something. I'm probably just going to have the simplified form. It was here on the group test, and I would suggest doing it on the individual test because it is helpful to solve the problem. Okay? But I probably won't have a place where you actually need to type it in. So here's what I did. What's the exponent on 16? Isn't it a 1? So that's 16 to the 1/4, m to the 28/4. That's what I wrote here. Now, some of you wrote slightly different versions of it, and that's fine. It was however you were looking at it to solve it, which is kind of why I don't want to put it on the computer, because there's several different ways you could think about that. When you simplify this, 16 to the 1/4 is 2. 28 over 4 reduces to 7. This is the part that I will have you type into the computer. But if you think about doing this part, it kind of helps get there a little bit easier. Number 6, if I followed that same thing, now keep in mind this whole thing is in parentheses. This would be, well, I'll write it this way. 729 to the 2/6 and x to the 2/6, right? Because everything's getting the 2, and because everything's under the radical, everything's getting the 6. Now, if you wrote 1/3 there, that's fine also. Doesn't matter to me. What's 729 to the 2/6 or to the 1/3? 9. And then x to the 1/3, that's as much as I can simplify it. Again, that's what I'll have you type in. The other one's just a step to help guide you towards the answer. Okay? All right, so knowing what I've been doing there, this would be 243 to the what power? There's a 1 exponent there, so it would be 1/5. And then x to the 5/5 and y to the 30/5. What's 243 to the 1/5? You can get that off your calculator. 3. And then 5 over 5 reduces to 1, so I just write x. And 30 over 5 reduces to, so that's the answer I'm looking for. Now, number 8 messed up a lot of people. I like number 8. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can just plug it straight into your calculator, and you'll find out that the answer is 8. Right? That's the easy way. 32 to the 1/4 times 8 to the 1/2 times 4 to the 1/8. Let me show you how this one's supposed to go, though. Okay? So you have 32 to the 1/4, 8 to the 1/2, and 4 to the 1/8. Notice I left all those bases blank because I'm going to try and use exponent rules. And I know that 32, 8, and 4 can all be written as 2 to some power. Because as soon as I get things that have the same bases, I can add their exponents or multiply them. I can follow all those rules. So I know that 4 is 2 squared, right? I know that 8 is 2 cubed. And I know that 32 is 2 to the what? 5th? So do you see how I can multiply exponents? 2 to the 5/4, and then 2 to the 3/2, and then 2 to the 2/8. Do you see that? Using my exponent rules, that's going to be 2 to the 5/4 plus 3/2 plus 2/8. Thank you. And then if you add all those up together, I can use my calculator for that. Let's see, 5/4 plus 3/2 plus 2/8 is 3. And 2 cubed is 8. So? Any questions about this side? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, backside. Notice these two problems don't have a new set of instructions, so they're still following the previous set of instructions. But there's no place for you to write the rational exponent form. Do you see that? So I have a situation here where what has to happen? How do I deal with this exponent outside? It has to go to the top and to the bottom. So in other words, I have m to the 8/3 to the 3/2 on top. And on the bottom, I have m to the 6th to the 3/2. So let's see what happens there. I'm going to multiply these. 8 times 3 is 24 over 6. I think it becomes m to the 4th. Yeah? Do you need me to? 24 over 6, just so I don't lose anybody. 6 over 1 times 3 over 2, that would be 18 over 2. So what do I have? M to the 4th over m to the 9th. And something that I notice hugely is that the bigger exponent's on the bottom. Yeah? So if I think about this the long way, there's 4 on top. The long way, 9 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom left. Or I could use that subtraction rule where m to the 4th over m to the 9th becomes m to the 4 minus 9. Remember, you do top minus bottom, which leaves you with m to the negative 5th. And then how do you write m to the negative 5th? You write it like this. Questions there? Okay, you should never have an answer where you have two bases that match in it. Okay, because you can use exponent rules to combine whatever those bases are. All right. This one looks like I have something to do on the bottom, but not on the top. So I'm going to leave the top as it is for right now. X to the 1/2, y to the 1/2. On the bottom, I need to distribute that exponent. So that's x to the 2/8 and y to the 4/8. Do you see that? So I have x to the 1/2, y to the 1/2 over x to the 2/8 simplifies to 1/4 and 4/8 simplifies to 1/2. Now, I cannot have two things that have a base of x because I need to combine those. Same thing with the y's. What do you notice about the y's though? They're the exact same. They cancel completely. So there's no y in my answer at all. So I just have x to the 1/2 over x to the 1/4. Well, do your top minus bottom, and what do you get? X to the 1/4 power, because 1/2 minus 1/4 is 1/4. Questions on those two? I think those two tend to be the hardest ones on the test for some people. Okay? So? All right. 11 through 14, solve and check for extraneous solutions. When do I need to solve? I'm sorry, when do I need to check? Not solve. When the index is even. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to circle the ones that I need to solve. Circle the ones I need to check. I need to solve all of them just to make sure I don't forget. Will I need to check here? Yes, because my index is even. Will I need to check here? No. Will I need to check here? Yes. Will I need to check here? No. Okay. So now I know I need to check those. Those ones I can check if I want to make sure that my answer is correct. Okay? So, starting here, I have a fraction in front. What do I do with that fraction in front? How do I get rid of it? Because my radical is not by itself. My radical is just this guy. So I can either divide by 1/5 or I can multiply by the reciprocal, right? So that would be multiplying by what? 5 over 1, which is just 5. That leaves me with 4k minus 7 to the 3/2 equals 25 times 5 is 125. And now I'm ready for my next step. What's my next step? Raise both sides to the reciprocal. So I'm going to raise both sides to the 2/3 power. So those are going to cancel, and I have 4k minus 7 equals 125 to the 2/3. That's the cube root of 125, which is 5, squared, which is, and again, you can do that on your calculator, 125 to the parentheses, 2 divided by 3. That gets you your answer too. Okay? All right, what do I do here? This should be pretty quick. Add 8. 4k equals, did I do something wrong there? Why did I write 8? Oh, Monday mornings. Okay, that gives me 32. That's a little better. So k equals, what's 32 divided by 4? Now, before I write it on my answer line, I need to check it. So, I'll write it in a different color just so we're clear. Does 1/5 times 4 times 8 minus 7 to the 3/2 equal 25? I need to see, is it true when I plug in 8 for k? So let's see, 1/5, what is 4 times 8? 32 minus 7 to the 3/2, does this equal 25? So let's see, 32 minus 7 is 25. So let's see. Square root of 25 is 5. Cubed is is 1/5 of 125 25? Yes. So I've checked it. My answer is good. So? Any questions there? Again, speak now or forever hold your peace. Tomorrow I become the dumbest person in the world. All I can tell you is I don't know. All right. We do not need to check our answer here, but what do I need to do first? Subtract 10. So that gives me 3 equals f minus 2 to the 1/5. Now what do? Raise both sides to the 5th power. What is 3 to the 5th? 243 equals f minus 2 and no more exponent, right? Well, that's pretty easy. So f equals 245. And again, you could check this. Does 245 minus 2 all to the 1 parentheses, 1 divided by 5 power, plus 10, does it equal 13? Yes, it does. Okay, questions there? All right. Number 13. What do I do here? Is my radical by itself?
Yeah.
It is by itself, so I can raise both sides to what power? That gives me 9 minus y over here. Over here, I have to write this twice. Why? Why can't I just distribute that exponent? You can only distribute the exponent if it's multiplication or division inside. Addition or subtraction, we got to go the full multiplication here. So 9 minus y equals y squared minus 7y minus 7y plus 49, which simplifies to y squared minus 14y plus 49. Now what do I need to do? Move everything over here, right? So I'm going to subtract 9, and I'm going to add y. Is that okay with you? So I have 0 equals y squared minus 13y plus 40. Yes? At this point, what do I do? Factor. -8 and -5. So y minus 8, y minus 5. I get y equals 8 and y equals 5. So I have 2 answers to check. So I'm going to check 8 first. I'll do this in my other color. 9 minus 8 under a radical. Does that equal 8 minus 7 not under a radical? Well, 9 minus 8 is 1. 8 minus 7 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 8 checks out. What about 5? If I check out 5, square root of 9 minus 5, does that equal 5 minus 7? 9 minus 5 is 4. 5 minus 7 is -2. That one does not check out, so I have to throw out that answer. So the only one that I would type into the answer blank would be 8. I guarantee there is an extraneous solution that you have to throw out somewhere. Okay? And chances are where you're going to see it is in one of these ones that you have to check your answers. Okay? So that gives you even more of a hint. Any questions on that guy? Nope. All right. Last one. Is at least one of the radicals by itself?
Yes.
Okay? So I can go ahead and raise both sides to what power? The 3rd power, because that matches my index. So over here I have 100a plus 16. Over here I have to distribute that to the 2, and then it makes the radical disappear when I distribute it there, leaving me with just a plus 25. Yes? So 100a plus 16 is equal to 8 times a plus 25. 100A plus 16 is equal to 8A plus what?
200.
200. I'm going to subtract 8A. So I have 92A plus 16 equals 200. Yes, I'm writing out every step so that I don't lose people, but you don't have to write out every step. 92A equals 200 minus 16 is
94.
divide by 92,
2.
and A equals 2. Since it was a cube root, I do not need to check my answer, but I always can, and this one does check out. Any questions there? All right, my job is done. Hope it makes sense to you. Happy studying.